Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Nancy Sheads of Rowhouse Greetings, and I'm back with another Copic Coloring video. Today I'm featuring one of the Anita Jeram images by Colorado Craft Company. This one is called Be Creative. Today I'm using my Copic markers, but I recently colored this image using paintbrush markers. I'll link to that blog post in the description below so you can take a look if you're interested. To start, I stamped the image in sentiments on a Copic-friendly paper with Hero Art's Intense Black ink, which is designed for use with alcohol markers. I started coloring the background, or essentially the ground and the sky. For the ground, I'm using YG11, YG13, and YG17. I'm simply blending out the colors here. I decided not to add a lot of detail that might distract from the central image. I'm applying the colors so that the area under the mouse is the darkest and gradually blends out to a lighter shade. For the sky, I'm using BG Quad, B Quad, and BG10. I'm starting with the BG Quad as the lightest shade and applying around the central image using a sweeping motion with the side of the brush nib. Notice that my flicks are parallel to the ground, even over the top of the image. If you flick out from the image as you work your way around, you'll end up with a sort of starburst effect, which is fine if that's what you intended, but it's very hard to blend out if it's not what you wanted. I worked my way through the three colors and then repeat it with BG Quad to soften the edges. I'm not too concerned about fading my colors out to white because I know that I'm going to be trimming the paper down when I create the card. But if I wanted those edges to fade out completely, I would have used the 0 marker, otherwise known as the colorless blender, to soften the edges. Here I'm coloring the paintbrush. I decided to make the handle blue, so I used one of my favorite combinations, working from dark to light, B37, B26, B24, and B12. I sometimes have trouble getting this combination to blend smoothly, so you'll see here that I repeated the combination. The rest of the paintbrush is relatively simple, Y26 and Y23 for the ferrule, and C3 and C6 for the bristles. I decided that I wanted a gray mouse. I know that there's this so-called rule you often hear about using the Copic warm grays for animals, or as I once heard it, anything that has a heart. And although I'm using the warm grays here, I pretty much ignored that supposed rule. I picked the shade of gray that works for what I'm doing, and I figured that Mother Nature probably does the same thing too. You'll also see here that I got a little confused when I was blocking out the darker areas of the mouse. For some reason, I got a little lost when I worked down the belly from the arm and ended up with that dark line running down his side. So when I repeat the colors the second time, I worked in sections instead of trying to do the whole mouse at one time. I cleaned up the shading around the face and ears, and as I worked my way down the body, I decided to just color over my first layer and shade from dark to light from the back of the body to the front. In the end, I think it looks a lot better than whatever it was I was doing on the first time. Here I'm going back with BV20 to deepen some of the shadows and add a little more depth. I like to use BV20 because it desaturates the colors without making them darker. So that's all for me. Thanks for watching. I've linked the supplies for today's project in the description below. Hit the like button and leave me a comment so that YouTube knows that this was content worth watching. I'll see you again soon.